Hello and good Saturday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to your weather forecast. I am Mr. G. This is Elite Weather with you on your weekend. So I hope you guys are having a great weekend because we have a weather forecast to talk about right now. And we have to talk about a storm that's going to be making the trek cross country with heavy rain and thunderstorms. A little bit of snow. We're going to see a lot of snow over the west, more so than we are in the east, because we're going to see a lot of warm weather and temperatures with this storm in the east, and that's going to lead to a lot of severe weather all the way up into the Ohio Valley and into the upper Midwest. A little early for severe weather up in Illinois, Michigan, and through Wisconsin, and maybe even as far north as Minnesota as well, but it's a little bit early. Typically, we don't see severe weather in the upper Midwest until June, but we are going to be seeing it with this storm system, so that's going to be early. So let's jump into our maps and explore the chaos that is about to descend upon the U.S. this coming week. So, looking pretty good out there right now. We do have a little bit of activity there across the southeast right now over North Carolina, parts of Virginia, and South Carolina as well. A little bit of snow in the Appalachian Mountains, so we are seeing some snow showers there, but rain showers over the eastern side of the state, east of the mountain range, and we got a little bit of rain and snow up in the northern country of the high plains over Montana, and some snow over the mountains of Montana and Idaho. So a little bit of wintry weather up in the northern Rockies, and a little bit of rain across the mid-Atlantic and into the southeast, and some mountain snow over the Appalachian Mountains as well. But for the most part, it's pretty quiet across the country. We're seeing a nice warm up across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes out ahead of that storm. So we're going to see those temperatures steadily rise over the next couple of days. We saw those temperatures in the 40s here in the Twin Cities today, in the lower 40s. We'll see the mid 40s tomorrow, but a big jump on Monday and Tuesday when we see those temperatures in the mid 60s. We're going to have a high of 65 degrees here in Minneapolis, St. Paul on Tuesday, but Wednesday is going to fall into the gutter. We're going to see a high of 21 on Wednesday here in the Twin Cities. That's going to be the lowest temperature we've seen for a high in quite a while. So we've been fairly above average this winter to see a one-day cold snap, because Thursday those highs will be back into the 40s. Next Friday we're going to see the 50s, and we're going to see 50s and maybe some more 60s over the next several days after Wednesday or Thursday next week. So a one-day cold snap as this next storm system passes. The snow forecast is still iffy with this one. I think we'll see a rain and snow mix because we'll have a high temperature of 45 degrees on Wednesday. So we'll see a high of 21 on Wednesday, a high of 45 on Tuesday, after that 61 or 65 on Monday, 45 Tuesday, 21 on Wednesday. But that's only going to be for one day, and I think what may happen is that the precipitation shield will clear the area by the time those temperatures plummet to where it's cold enough to snow. There won't be any more precipitation in the area, so I think we're going to probably miss out on this opportunity, which is typically a type of system that often brings very heavy snow into the Twin Cities, Colorado low. So let's take a look at our next map. This is the current temperatures across the country. Beautiful temperatures down here across the south, southern Texas, to upper 70s to near 80 degrees across the Gulf Coast. We're also seeing some 70s across parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and down into Florida, where we're seeing those temperatures in the 70s across the Florida Peninsula. Temperatures up into the 60s to parts of the Carolinas as well. You have to get up to Virginia to see where those temperatures drop into the 40s, because we have that weak system that dropped out of Canada that's making it cold across the Northeast, as we're seeing those temperatures in the teens and 20s in New England. So that quick hit of cold air is currently making its way into the Northeast and New England and the Great Lakes. But that's only going to last for one day, because starting tomorrow, we're going to see those temperatures begin to recover as this new storm makes its presence felt more and more across the nation's midsection and later on across the east. So that's a look at the temperatures across the country right now. And here is our departure from what we saw yesterday, our 24-hour temperature change from 24 hours ago. And here in the Northeast, now we saw that here across the upper Midwest yesterday, but today we're seeing that temperature change in the Northeast and along the Atlantic. So we're seeing those temperatures drop more than 10 to 15 degrees across the Northeast and parts of the Ohio Valley as well. We're seeing it colder by more than a dozen degrees compared to the day before. But we're seeing it starting to warm up across the upper Midwest. If you saw that temperature here in the Twin Cities are a few degrees warmer than we were yesterday. Here are the winds across the country right now. Now we're seeing a lot of winds across the plains because we have that storm system getting ready to eject out into the plains out of the Rockies. So that storm is going to move out across the plains, and in doing so we're going to see warm air advection coming up from the south, and that's going to bring with it lots of strong winds across the plains. We have strong winds down here along the Gulf Coast as well, and we have a lot of winds because of that infiltration of colder air across the Northeast. So we're looking at breezy conditions with those winds about 20 to 25 miles per hour across the Northeast and New England. Here is a look at the snowfall that's on the ground right now. Our freshest area of snow is right here across the Great Lakes, where we have a 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches in some locations across the Ohio Valley and into parts of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes area of Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan, maybe the Arrowhead of Minnesota. We picked up some fresh snow from this very same system as it dropped down, but it didn't drop any snow across the plains or the Twin Cities areas. And we have a lot of snow across the Rockies and the Sierra Nevada and the Cascade mountain range, the Wasatch range over Utah and Colorado. We have some fresh snow, a lot of snow, several feet of snow on the ground. So they're certainly not seeing a snowfall deficit out over the west, but here in the east, we definitely are seeing a significant snowfall deficit because of that very, very strong Super El Nino that has been affecting the weather across the country this entire season. So here is the snow forecast for the next 48 hours. We do have the potential for some light snow up there in New England, and we can see some light snow along the U.S. and Canadian border with Minnesota and North Dakota. Some very, very light snow. We're talking flurries to about an inch or snow possible across that region. So some very light snow along the U.S. and Canadian border in a couple of spots. And we're going to be seeing a little bit of snow across the northern Rockies down into parts of the southern Rockies over Colorado. We're going to pick up a few inches, and we're going to pick up several more inches of snow in the Cascade mountain range and maybe even parts of the Sierra Nevada as well over the next 48 hours. Here is your forecast for Sunday morning. A pretty dry morning to start your day across much of the country. So we're going to see that dry weather, maybe a few snowflakes there over the northern Michigan. The upper peninsula might pick up a few snowflakes, and we're going to see some snow over the Pacific Northwest, the northern Rockies, and we're going to see rain along the Puget Sound, the Pacific Northwest, down through Seattle and Washington, southern Washington. We're going to see some rain, and we might see some snow over the Cascade Mountains in the Pacific Northwest as that big storm comes on shore over that region. Here is your afternoon forecast. Looks much of the same. Not much to say here because it's not going to change much. And in the evening, once again, not going to change, same as the morning. So a fairly benign day across the country tomorrow as temperatures begin to warm ahead of that big storm system when it moves out across the plains. And we're going to see another cool day across the northeast as those temperatures begin to moderate across the east on your Sunday. So a little bit warmer than we saw today. So here's the track that we think that was going to happen with that big storm. So we're going to see that storm come into the Pacific Northwest, drop down across the Rockies. So we're going to see that trough. We're going to see a very deep trough over the west, a big ridge over the east. That's going to pull up lots of warm air and moisture off of the Gulf of Mexico. So that's going to provide fuel for severe thunderstorms down through the south and into the Ohio Valley and parts of the Midwest, as well as we get into the middle part of the week next week, as we see that very, what we call an amplified jet stream with that deep trough over the west, huge ridge over the east. This is an amplified jet stream. We have a Colorado low because it's going to eject out of New Mexico and Colorado, head up towards the upper Midwest. We're going to see that low pressure trek across Kansas, Nebraska, and into Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and over across Michigan and into the Great Lakes. So we're going to see that. Typically lows that do that, we call those Colorado lows because they eject out of the southern Colorado and New Mexico. That's where they really kind of get organized over that region. So we're going to see this Colorado low usually brings a lot of snow across the upper Midwest. So I'm going to keep tracking it because the signals that I'm getting is for rain and not snow. So we're going to see how that all pulls together. But I don't think if we see any snow, it's going to be fairly light amounts. We're not going to typically, a system like this in a normal year could bring us a foot or more of snow, or at least a good 8 inches. 6 to 8 inches on average, but can be as much as a foot. Usually these are our snow producers. Usually this is the time of the year of the winter, late February, March, through about mid-March is when we pick up rather large snowstorms because of the low pressure centers tend to emerge. These Colorado lows typically develop in the end of February and through March. So, but we're seeing that, but we're not seeing that snow signal connect. We're not seeing that connect up with our storm system. So, but what we are seeing is that signal for a lot of severe weather. It's going to be stupid. The severe weather is going to be stupid. I'm telling you, the signals that I'm seeing in the models right now is for a significant severe weather outbreak. We're going to see tornadoes, lots of damaging winds. We're going to see large hail, and gorilla hail, like some areas, especially down in Texas and in parts of the plains. We're going to see very large hail. We're going to definitely be seeing that potential to see 2-inch diameter hail through the upper Midwest and the Ohio Valley. We're going to see that large hail down into the deep south as well, and along the Gulf Coast. Water spouts, tornadoes is going to be possible. It's going to be a very exciting period of time there, Tuesday through Thursday across the eastern U.S. And we're going to be seeing a lot of snow across the Rockies, but I just don't see it connecting with each other there across the upper Midwest as far as precipitation amounts and snowfall across the northern plains and the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. This is going to have a lack of snow across the east because of the amount of warm air that's going to feed into the system. So we're going to see that heavy rain from Sunday through Thursday across the eastern half of the United States. We're going to see those thunderstorms and severe weather across a good portion of the Midwest and include in the South as well. And we're going to be seeing that storm start off here. Here's a look as we track this storm across the country. Let's start off in the Pacific Northwest on your Sunday night. We're going to start there, and we're going to see snow over the Cascade Mountains, and we're going to see rain along the coastal areas to the west of the mountains. Heavy rain along the coastal areas, Portland up to Seattle, but we're going to see mountain snow in the Cascades, and we're going to see mountain snow over eastern Colorado, not Colorado, but eastern Washington and Oregon, and snow into Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and down through Colorado, and even into New Mexico. We could see some snow showers as well. So Monday, things get a little bit more animated. So we're going to see that snow really, that low pressure center is going to head off towards we have one area that's going to head off toward the east there. We can see that low pressure center along the U.S. and Canadian border, but we see that snow. We're going to have a deformation band on the backside of that snow, and that's going to bring heavy snow to the northern Rockies. So we're going to see that snow across the mountains all the way to the Cascades and the Sierra Nevada, and we're going to see those severe thunderstorms on Tuesday begin to rock out across the upper Midwest, even up into Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma. All you guys are going to be dealing with that severe weather on Tuesday. You're going to rock out and have be prepared. I'm going to keep you guys up to date and tuned and in the know on what to expect as far as that severe weather potential outbreak as we head into the middle part of next week. Wednesday, we're going to see that rain and those thunderstorms shift further to the east. Nashville, we can see some severe weather. Cincinnati, we're going to see some severe weather. Some rain up in Buffalo. We're going to see rain up in New York, Boston. Washington is going to see that rain. Charlotte, rain and thunderstorms will move into your area. Montgomery, Alabama, you're going to see thunderstorms move into your area. Atlanta as well, we'll see thunderstorms move into those areas as well. So, as we get into Thursday, it's going to start to wind down. We're going to see that low pressure begin to pull away from the U.S. and move across Newfoundland and Labrador. We're going to see that low pressure center headed up into Canada and be in its wake. It's going to leave a few snowflakes across portions of New England. So, Vermont, New Hampshire, way up in upstate New York, and maybe Maine might be seeing a few snowflakes as well. But everybody else is going to begin to dry out and cool for half a day. Not going to be a big cold down on the backside. Temperatures are going to rebound rather quickly behind the storm, which is part of the reason why we're not seeing snow. Even though a lot of cold air is being funneled in, but it's a very small, tight area, and high pressure and warmer air will build in immediately behind the system. So it's not a blocking system at all. It's a very transient system. It's called a transition low because it's not being blocked by any omega blocks in the atmosphere or anything like that. It's a free-flowing, sort of a high amplitude, but it's for sort of a zonal pattern because the blocking is not locking in place. So that's kind of the reason why we're not seeing an outrageous snowstorm across the upper Midwest and the east. So that's a good thing. If this was a nor'easter, we would have been talking about the potential for a lot of snow across the east. So here's our severe thunderstorms that we're going to see on Tuesday across the upper Midwest down into the southern plains. And we're going to see those severe thunderstorms across the Ohio Valley on Wednesday, and that's going to affect areas down through Kentucky, the mid-Mississippi River Valley, through Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. Is going to see those severe storms on your Wednesday and Thursday, and then so again, all of that severe weather across a good portion of the upper Midwest and the Mid-South. And then here is Chicago. So Chicago, we're going to start off your day 62 on Monday, 52 Monday afternoon or evening. And we're going to see your temperature 66 on Tuesday with afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Thunderstorms likely Tuesday night with a low of 33. Wednesday, we're going to see those temperatures drop for one day, 36 on Wednesday, and then Wednesday night, we're going to see it partly cloudy with a low of 22 degrees. So that is your weather forecast as we update you on the arrival of that big storm And my name is Mr. G. Thank you for watching me. Leave your likes, comments. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys all tomorrow afternoon with a update and to see the progress and how, if any changes have happened with our big storm, okay? All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night and a good weekend. Bye-bye.